NIO has reported about a 175% year-on-year increase in October deliveries, and the company's earnings report will be released in a few days as well. So, is this the best time to buy? Sit tight as we go through recent news as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for regular stock market updates. NIO has announced that it delivered 10,059 vehicles in October, which is 174.3% more than last year's October report. These numbers were made up of about 6,000 SUVs, including 2.8 thousand ES7 vehicles, and about 4,000 sedans, with 3,000 being the ET7 and 1,000 being the ET5. As for the earnings report, it's all set to be released on the 10th of November and traders are getting anxious. But in our opinion, you should stay calm as we think NIO might just get a positive earnings report thanks to these factors. Every car company that gets weaker than expected deliveries usually misses the earnings target as well. But since NIO hit its target of 31 to 33,000 vehicles delivered, we can expect things to get better from here. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-day chart for NIO, and as always, we'll first analyze the 1-day chart, then the 1-hour chart, and to end it off, we'll get to the 5-minute chart. But right off the bat, we can see that we've opened in a gap down, and now we're going up a bit, right? The gap down, well, first of all, over here, we can see that this was when the deliveries report came out, of course. So we got a gap up from the price of $9.65 to a price of 6.7, or rather just $10.3 with a 6.7% rise, right? And after that, of course, you can see that we hit a level of 10.46, pretty much just the $10.5 range, and then we fell down. And of course, it was a pretty, harsh fall as well. And I believe that the stock is back to its previous levels after even this deliveries estimate report, and now we're, really close to the earnings report. Now, what I believe is going to happen over here is that we'll probably continue to stay between this range of 8.5 and 10.5 until and unless the earnings report is out. And as we already discussed, that the earnings report probably won't have any surprises, not for the bulls, not for the bears, right? So in that scenario, I guess that the stock will probably just continue trading in this range. Of course, some bulls might sell the stock since they'll be disappointed, of course, that the stock, or rather the company, did not get a positive earnings report. But of course, if we look at the long-term trend as well, we've been in a downtrend for the major part of the stock's history, right? So, well, you just keep zooming out and it will just be bearish all over. So we can see that we fell from a high of about $70 in 2021's January to the current price of 8 point, or rather $9.65. So, well, if we take a look at it that way, right, in case that NIO gets back all of its functionalities, all of its fundamentals, and it fixes the supply chain problems, of course, the stock it might go up, right? But then again, we're not too sure since this has proven to be a bad bet in the past. But of course, right, if we look at the current scenario, even a $10 gain would be a 100% gain, right? So that's not bad, of course. But the real question, as we said, should you buy the stock and is this the best time to buy the stock? In my opinion, it should go down a bit again, right? As you guys can see, we were already squeezing into this range a bit. So if we go down a bit, maybe towards the $9 range, I guess that should be a good point to buy, right? Even under $10 is a good time to buy, or rather a good point to buy NIO, in my opinion. But of course, right, you should get all of the profits that you can and you should not avoid any opportunities. In my opinion, it should get under the $9.5 range, back into the $9 range. That would be a good time to buy. Of course, even the earnings, if they get us a small pump towards the $10.5 range as well, that would be a good trade considering the fact that it will get you about 15% gains in a few days. Of course, if we look at this scenario over here as well, this was just thanks to the swing traders mainly. But of course, we did hit this resistance around 10.5, so there must have been a lot of limit orders being placed as well. And as you guys can see, the stock is already falling down to the $9.5 level. Well, now let's quickly jump on into the 1-hour chart to analyze it in more detail. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-hour chart, and right off the bat, we can see that over here, yesterday we did get a major red candle in the first part, and after that, of course, we got a small pin bar on the upside. It got discarded, by a follow-up negative candle. And of course, after that, we went down. This kind of indicated a gap down, if you ask me, right? But still, if we look at these levels over here, we can see that we made a triple bottom at this range of $9.7 pretty much, right? After that, we can see that we had another top around 9.96, or rather just the $10 range, right? Of course, people bet on the stock a bit lower, right? Around, so let's say if the stock value that they want to buy or sell at is $10, then probably a lot of other people would have placed their order on $10 as well, considering that it's a psychologically, common level, right? It's a mutual level. So I and many other people like me would probably do something like, if they want to get at 9.5, they'll probably get it at 9.52 or 9.48, right? Not exactly the round figure, but a few points above or below it. So as you guys can see, now we're down to 9.48. This will probably just keep getting worse. But even if we look at the support level, since we're falling down, we can see that we have a level around 9.38, or just the $9.4 level in an adjusted scenario, if you ask me. And of course, we do have another resistance around 9.6, right? That's kind of psychological. We will have a support around $9.5. So let's quickly see what happens. But if you ask me, well, there's nothing much left to see in the 1 hour chart. The real stuff lies in the 5-minute chart. So let's jump on into that. So now that we're in the 5-minute chart, we can see that we did get a small gap down, and after that we did get a small candle on the negative side. Of course, it was a red pin bar candle, but it got discarded by a massive green candle, and now we're headed towards the $10 resistance. Of course, we'll have to face $9.9 before that as well. And after that, we'll face $10. But of course, if we look over here, I don't really believe that we'll be able to cross $10 today or anytime soon, of course, because as you guys already can see, the price action is pretty much just very negative, right? The previous day just suggested that the price action is negative, and even if we take into account all of the Fed policies and the fact that inflation will take a long time to curb, and the supply chain issues are just growing in China, that might be a bad thing. But let's quickly see what goes, or rather what goes on, what happens over here. Of course, buying pressure is pretty solid because the stock is continuously pumping towards that level, making new highs. But while that happens, of course, we'll get some levels, right? We can see that there is an active support around this level at 9.38. We already discussed it. There is another support around over here pretty much at 9.70. That's kind of psychological, but yeah. Anyways, there is another support around 9.83 as well. We got supported twice over here and over here as well. So these are some important levels too. Yeah, we should look out for them. And we did make a double top over here at 10.11, and we probably made, like, we tackled another resistance around 10.2 as well. But as you guys can see, buying pressure does not seem to be fading away. Of course, we did get, oh well, we did break the 9.93 level, and yeah, we might even break the $10 range. I might be wrong about the stock for now, but of course, in the longer range, we will get a bearish trend. It will get back to the $9.5 range. I don't really know why the stock is going up today, right? But of course, if we look over here, we can see that MULN is down, Lucid is down, right? All of the competitors, Tesla is down. Anyways, I'll be back in a minute once the scandal has ended to see where the stock is going from there on. Now that the scandal has finally ended, we can see that we did cross the $10 range, and of course we can see that now we're making a negative candle. It is a much expected pullback, but does this mean that the stock will get a bull trend today? Well, it might be that, right? It might be that way, but if you ask me, again, I am bearish on the stock short term. Even though we might get some some bull runs, we might get some bullish trends. This top over here, $10.5, we probably won't break this, but I guess buyers are headed for that level and they're trying to get back to that level. Um, as you can see, back to $10.05, 10.04, and we also have Fed's decision today, so let's see how that turns out. And of course, it will impact how the stock performs in the long run as well. But with that, my prediction for the stock is that it will be bearish on the short term, and bullish on the long term, right? So I would probably rate it a hold to buy somewhere between that. But of course, remember that this definitely was not financial advice, and you should always do your own research before you trade. If, however, you enjoyed my analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. You can subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.